Welcome, everyone. This is a second edition of the Fumbling Gurus podcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the first episode. Let us know what you think, anything you want to add to this, any comments you have on some of the picks we make and how they're the worst decisions you've ever heard of. But we will introduce again real quick. My name is Sick Stomach. Welcome to the podcast. I'll be kind of the leader today into some of the topics we're going to go into. We also have G-Man joining us. G-Man, if you want to say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
And we also have Mr. Fantastic, Finn.
Hello, hi everybody.
Perfect. All right, we will jump into some of the things that we have seen the past week here in the NFL. Some things we want to talk about, good or bad. We'll jump into how I picked all the correct picks last week and no one else picked almost anything. And then, we'll go from there. So I think, one of the main, kind of jumping into it, the main topics a lot of people were talking about was the Monday night game. I even heard like this is the best Monday night game people have seen in this generation, things like that. So, Finn, I don't know if you had any particular things you wanted to pick out of that game. But yeah, take it away.
That was the and Rams. No, it was Raiders game. Raiders Baltimore game.
Yes, Ravens. Yep.
I went to bed early.
That doesn't
I'm a
surprise me.
100% honest with you. The Ravens came out to an early lead. Lamar Jackson did things that Lamar Jackson can only do. Freak of an athlete, just incredible talent. Freak of an athlete. Receiving core has been their weakest link for the last few years. They signed Sammy Watkins. They've drafted Marquise Brown. They drafted that kid who got hurt in training camp and preseason. And once again, though, that really showed its ugly head from at least what I saw, heard. And then it was a great game, but I don't really, honestly, I don't have much to say about the second half because I was asleep.
No, that's fair. I think first half the Ravens were really in control of it from what I was seeing, and then they just couldn't, like you were saying, they almost fizzled out. They couldn't put the last kind of push, the last 10% they needed. And then, of course, the Raiders were able to come back and win it in overtime. G-Man, any thoughts from your side on the game?
Well, the Ravens had 15 players out in that game, I heard, and that probably didn't help them at all.
No.
And I feel like Lamar Jackson kind of carried that game for the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
It was an okay game, but had the Ravens been healthy, I think that they probably would have swept it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, if they would
What
have kept that same intensity the whole game, it would have been no question, I feel like.
I would like to say that that kid, undrafted free agent, rookie, not rookie, second year maybe, running back, the fourth on the depth chart. He came out and played a really good game, and looked pretty good from what I could see in the first quarter, and I believe the first half. So that was and probably pretty good. And for any Baltimore fans out there, it's exciting to see such a young guy stepping up into a role that he was buried on the depth chart until three injuries to the running backs.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel bad for anyone that may have picked up both the starter and the backup in fantasy. There might or might not be someone here that did that.
Listen, I have the rookie, so it's all good. So it's all good.
I guess we'll do your brace. So you eventually got the pick, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I messed up.
jumping into a little bit, almost the opposite of that game was the Green Bay game. I think, man, I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm gonna have to wait maybe and see how they come out in week two, but it's hard to say. It almost seems like Rodgers is like sacking this year because I feel like how can it go that badly from how great of a player he is? But yeah, G-Man, if you maybe want to jump into your thoughts on some of the Green Bay game there.
Yeah, I mean, 133 yards, two interceptions from
Hmm.
Aaron Rodgers with three touchdowns the entire game. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Rumor is people are throwing around that he's throwing games. I don't believe it. Um, I think that once they face the Lions, it's a bounce back game.
Yeah.
He'll get a stride there.
Yeah. I wonder if it is maybe a little bit of a like, look what I can do kind of thing mentality from Aaron Rodgers. Like, look, I can sit here and not play a game if you guys don't want to, work with me. So yeah, maybe he got his point across and he'll come back out again next week. Finn, did you have any thoughts on either the game or the controversy with the quarterback there?
As I said last week, you never bet against the greatest quarterback to wear number 12. And of course, I'm not talking about Brady. Once again, I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers. He had a bad game. The whole Green Bay team had a bad game. Jameis Winston threw 5 touchdown passes on 19 attempts. He had at one point 4 touchdown passes and less than 150 yards. That's bad on the defense. Yes, that's set up by the short fields, set up by the interception, set up by the bad offense that Green Bay was doing, but the defense didn't help matters. Aaron Jones was not great. I mean, the whole team was let down. Also, keep in mind, New Orleans was going, they had a little bit of an extra reason to play hard, right? You had the Hurricane Ida come through, and they were playing that game in Jacksonville because of the hurricane. I thought that would actually help Green Bay because it's no longer in the dome, it's not at the home stadium, but that still gives those players a little extra incentive to come out play hard, and I think it showed. If I'm a Packers fan, listen, Aaron Rodgers said it like 5 years ago, RELAX. Relax. It's a long season. It's 16 games to go. They lost to New Orleans. It's not a big deal. They'll still win the division. They're still a Super Bowl contender. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to throw games. If he was going to throw games, he would have retired.
I don't know. That
So I don't buy it. I think he's still going to be fine. I got no issues.
sounds like the Aaron Rodgers defense. It sounds like his post game interview of, hey, look, it's a long season. It's I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying it. Someone of that caliber, I feel like, does not like. I mean, look at the greatest player to ever wear the number 12 in Tampa Bay. He never has a bad game. You know what I'm saying?
Never has a bad game. You should look up some film when
Never
Brady
has a
played Jason
bad
Taylor and the
Buccaneer
Dolphins.
game. At least,
Yikes.
hopefully, not this year. No, it's tough to tell. I think we'll just have to wait. Maybe this week we'll see a change in that team. Maybe it is something behind the scenes. I guess we'll figure it out as we go a couple more games here. Um, I'd say the other game that interests me, and I think I mentioned it last week, a team that's almost becoming my second home team that I'm kind of watching a little more closely and paying attention to was the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they're set to be a top team coming up if they keep everything in motion. But then, man, I watched the game last week. I watched some of the press conference and then some of the news that came out of the coaching staff, the way things are going, some of the turmoil, it sounds like, in the locker room. But yeah, I think I'll start with kind of Trevor Lawrence, some of his impact on the game. Um, I think he definitely struggled. Their defense did not help them. I feel like so a lot of it was put on him to make a better game of it than it should have been. He did end up with 3 interceptions, which a lot of them seemed to be his fault on decision making, on where he was deciding to make that pass. So I was a little, I guess, disappointed in that showing. A lot of people were talking him up. I know last week even I mentioned that I think he's a little overhyped, but he did have really good, points as well. Where a couple of the touchdown pass, a couple longer receptions that showcased his mentality, thought process in the pocket. But yeah, I guess we'll start there with Trevor Lawrence. Finn, if you have any thoughts on him or the team there this week.
Yeah, no. Trevor Lawrence, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, he threw 3 picks. The guy's gonna make mistakes. He's a rookie. He was on the worst team for, the Jacksonville was able to get him for a reason. He was the number one pick because Jacksonville is a bad team. They were a one-win team last year. They're not going to go from a one-win team to a 12-win team and be competitive. They're lackluster on defense. They traded some of their good players away to the Rams, like Jalen Ramsey. They have some receivers, but the receivers aren't lightning fast. They definitely are a little slow. They're sluggish. They drafted the kid, the running back. Can't think of what school he was. Tore, is it knee injury? He's out for the year. So they got to go back to James Robinson, and it's going to be a process. Now, as I said last week, when it comes to Jacksonville, is Urban Meyer an NFL coach? He had great success where he went in college. We see college coaches all the time fail at the NFL level. Nick
Hmm.
Saban, one of the greatest, if not the greatest coach in college football, failed in Miami. He made it in Miami 2 years, had a losing record, and then bolted back to Alabama. So this is an adjustment Urban Meyer's going to have to make. Trevor Lawrence is going to take his lumps. He's a rookie. Uh, I know that, and we'll get into it a little bit later. But Mac Jones did not throw any interceptions. Trevor Lawrence did, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, look how good Mac Jones was, and Lawrence took his lumps." Well, look at the game plan. Lawrence was throwing downfield. He was pushing the ball. He was trying to come from behind on a really poor performance early on that Houston took a big lead in. So of course Lawrence is going to have his interceptions, but the guy is an elite prospect. He'll be a great player. Jacksonville's set as long as they can give him the protection necessary, and Urban Meyer can develop into an NFL coach.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it'll be interesting to watch that progress. That was some of what I was hinting at with what's being seen in the locker room there with the coach. A lot of turmoil, a lot of him kind of stepping in and micromanaging a lot of the team. Sounds like he doesn't believe in what they're doing. Doesn't believe they can do it on their own. And I think too the mentality, like in college, you can go years, seasons, whatever, without losing games. And the NFL is not going to happen. You're not going to win every single game, not have that turmoil like you're talking about within the season. But yeah, G-Man, I wanted to give you some time as well. Did you happen to catch the game? What were your thoughts on some of those topics?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the game. He had 332 yards
Mm,
passing, so it's like he could he could throw 3 touchdowns. It seems to me like Trevor Lawrence just needs a polish. Definitely, because he's just getting started there in Jacksonville. He
mm,
doesn't, he's still a rookie, so probably just needs to get a little bit of um, pep in his step, if you say,
a little bit, yeah, a little bit of experience. Yeah, no,
I would like
I
to
think that's fair
add
enough. Go ahead.
I would like to add that it's never good when your coach is linked to a college program after one game. Nick Saban, look, my opinion of Nick Saban's not the highest. He abandoned Miami, said that he wasn't going to go to Alabama while he had moving trucks in his home packing. It's not good. There's definitely a bit of will he stay? Will he go? And that's not good for the team. I mean, I know he was adamant saying, "Look, I'm here to stay. I'm not leaving." But that USC job, until it's until someone's filled it, I mean, that's a big time program, and there's always going to be that kind of looming question over him. Will he leave?
Mm-hmm.
Is it fair on that team? I don't think so. But we saw Atlanta's coach do it. We've seen Nick Saban do it. He would not be the first coach to abandon ship early.
Hmm. For sure. No, I definitely agree. I think being a University of Tennessee fan, we've had our fair share of coaches do the same to us. So no, I feel that pain. But I would like to see. I know Urban Meyer is one of the coaches that they felt could make that transition. Um, so it'll be interesting if he can't. Then does that close the doors for other college coaches that at this point the NFL is just not willing to take that chance? So yeah, I think we've kind of moved through that game. One other thing I wanted to kind of hit on was key injuries this week. We had a couple. Well, we had more than a couple that kind of came up and were major injuries for some teams. I know one of the ones for myself in the first couple rounds of my fantasy draft, I picked up Mostert, and of course, what they say, death, taxes, and Mostert didn't hurt. So yeah, we're I'm down one of my running backs in the league, but it's never nice to see someone go down. But I know another key one was Fitzmagic this week. I always liked him. We share the same beard. But from that point, anything, Finn, any key injuries that you saw this week? Anything that you were kind of surprised occurred?
Well, one, Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, I get it. Him going down may not have been the worst thing for Washington. That
Mm-hmm.
kid last night, he keep in mind he went up against Tampa in the playoffs as a rookie and just about won that game. Last night, look, he made that horrible interception, but what a comeback and and not almost did win that game. Even coming back after that horrible interception to put his team at a loss. Yes, most are getting hurt. That one's rough. I know I had him in a league as well, and he's a good player when on the field, but injuries are part of the game. Um, I think some of the key injuries that you're missing is on Dallas's offensive line. Lyle
Mm-hmm.
Collins, not an injury, but a failed drug test,
Mm-hmm.
and he's suspended 5 games. Michael Gallup, their number three receiver, who really puts
Yep.
them in that category of best receiving core in the NFL. He's out for. I think they put him on IR, and he's out for at least 3 weeks.
Yeah, I did see that.
Uh, Jerry Judy of
Mm-hmm.
uh, Denver.
Denver. Yep.
Yeah, and there were so many injuries last week, and a lot of key guys and a lot of important pieces to offenses. And I know that big names, receivers and running backs, quarterbacks especially, are what get attention. But I think the offensive line losing Collins may be the biggest injury to Dallas. I know if the Bucks were to lose Penn, that would really hurt. Um, so I think a lot of the injuries that you see, the big splash guys, it stinks. It's horrible. But I think if you look at it, seeing guys on the defensive line, offensive line, those are key things.
Mm-hmm.
And no team's been hurt harder than Baltimore early on, and so we'll see which teams can bounce back and show that depth.
Yeah, definitely. Wasn't Dallas already down a couple O linemen as well leading into the first week?
Their left guard was
Mm-hmm.
out. I think was it COVID? I think it was COVID that he was out. So he should be back net this week. I think it was just a 1 week out, but still, that hurts the offensive line.
Yeah.
You lose an all-pro left tackle, all-pro left guard, even just for 1 week, it really changes how you do things.
Yeah, and I'm sure consistency as well. You get used to certain guys being there and the way you interact with that team and that starting lineup, and then that's changing week to week. You can't get a rhythm going.
Well,
Um,
especially like a unit like the offensive line. I mean, those guys are. I
mm,
mean, you talk about a gelling period every year, especially when there's a huge turnover on the offensive line, and that's out of all positions. I think that is the most important position. Continuity. If you don't have that sense of togetherness, I mean, you really see big drop offs.
yeah, for sure. G-Man, any injuries this week that you were kind of tracking?
Just basically Raheem Mostert, with him being hurt. Eli Mitchell, I think, is the backup running back. No, um, but he's going to be put to the test against the Eagles.
Mm,
We stopped Atlanta's runs pretty consistently, so I it's going to be a challenge.
yeah, for sure. That'll be. I guess you'll be following that one pretty closely since that's I mean, that's kind of the next topic we're running into as well. So we can jump into kind of what that looks like. G-Man, your Eagles this week. So I know last week we had picked some, where we felt that line would fall. I think we all successfully picked our teams last week. So Finn, you picked Miami over Pats. Of course, they won, and G-Man picked the Eagles over the Falcons. I believe they won. I can't.
Blowout. Blowout.
Yeah, that was definitely a blowout. So yeah, G-Man, do you want to kind of recap your thoughts on the Eagles team and kind of how they played out last week?
All I gotta say is Hurts, 27 out of 35 completions for 77%. I got over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and goose egg for interceptions. So that was really surprising, and I did not expect that out of him. There was a lot of doubters that said that they don't believe in him. I think that after week one, I'm sold. I'm sold on Hurts. And Devontae Smith did really well with 71 receiving yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goddard, the second touchdown they had to Dallas Goddard was really good. Um, the defense held the Falcons away from the end zone
Hmm.
and got them to 2 field goals. Yeah, so 4 sacks in the fourth quarter. Yeah, so
Is is there anything that
killed it.
is there anything that you feel you want them to improve on? You want to see differently heading into week two?
Oh, they got to work on the false starts.
Hmm.
Definitely got to work on those false starts because we lost so many yards. Just
Uh,
false start, false start, false start. So, and they're elite, so like that shouldn't be happening. They got a lot of veteran guys out there. It just baffles me how many false starts we had. So that's definitely something we need to work on.
for sure. Yeah, I think that was actually one thing that I was paying attention to. That was pretty much the first game these teams have had in front of crowds in over a year. So it's interesting to see the change. I know that was a big topic for a lot of the quarterbacks, especially like the rookies last year coming into this year, and being able to manage that crowd noise while paying attention to everything going on. So I wonder if that's kind of playing into it a little bit, and they'll, I'm sure, get in the next couple of weeks here a little bit better on that front. Um, Jumping into Miami as well. I know, Finn, this is always a big game for you every year against New England. So I'm sure you're happy with some of the results there. But yeah, if you want to break down the game for us.
Absolutely. It's Pats week, or I should say it was Pats week, and we destroyed them. There's just no question about it. We walked in there, we walked out with the win, 100%, never in doubt. Um,
Never a doubt.
Never in doubt. They won
Uh,
that game
Not, not
17-16,
even one.
and it was the widest 1 point margin you'll ever have. No, look, the Patriots went out. They spent a lot of money on that offensive line, or on the offense. They got the two tight ends. They revamped everything. They draft the rookie quarterback Mac Jones. They get a bunch of their guys back from opting out of last year with COVID, and this is a team that a lot of experts picked to be in the playoffs as a wild card team. And Miami went to Foxborough, to Gillette Stadium, and beat them. Look, everyone talks about how great Mac Jones looked, and he did look good. I have to give him a lot of credit that one of the big bugaboos of him coming out of college was he didn't handle pressure well.
hmm.
Miami blitzed him, Miami hit him, and he stayed composed, except for the play nobody wants to talk about when he spiked the ball to his running back, offensive lineman. I don't know who he was throwing to, behind him for a fumble. And it was very fortunate that it went right to a New England player. More
Hmm.
times than not, you do that, that's 6 points for the defense.
For sure. Yeah, I think it was a little, like you're saying, loss of composure there. But I agree. I think I was seeing some good things out of him. I do think that they had a game plan for him, and I think it worked to their advantage, Miami's advantage during that game. Anything that you would change heading into week two?
Well, I mean, just continuing on
Mm-hmm.
for a second there, Mac Jones played with the training wheels on. And I know that there was a guy on, I want to say ESPN, that was talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Every drive they scored was like 12, 13, 14 plays, 60, 70 yards, and it ended in a field goal. Their lone touchdown came thanks to the officials. There was a sack that the guy went low. He was falling to the ground when he made the tackle,
Mm-hmm.
and they threw a 15-yard penalty, unnecessary roughness, giving them the the first down and then letting them score.
Yeah,
You don't you can move the ball up and down the field when you're throwing underneath routes and you're playing off, throwing it where the blitz is coming from, but he didn't really push the ball downfield. And I think you're going to see Mac Jones. That's his next step to prove to the NFL that he's actually a legit NFL prospect at quarterback. He has to push the ball downfield.
hmm,
Miami, look, they won that game 17-16. They had four forced fumbles, recovered two of them, and Xavier Howard was a defensive player of the year type player last year, and he showed why he it was and why he is going to be in that conversation this year, forcing the fumble to ice the game.
for
And
sure.
that defense is going to carry this team. Tua did a great job managing. He had one big, big, big horrible play where he just couldn't get the ball thrown out of bounds. But the offense looked decent. I mean, 17 points is not enough, but they also wanted to shorten the game and play to the strength of the Dolphins team and the weaknesses of the Patriots. And I think they did that. Anytime you go to Foxborough and walk out with a win, that's a big win.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest home field advantages, especially I'm sure with your conspiracy theories around that stadium as well.
Hey, it's not just coming from Dolphins fans. I mean, you've got plenty of coaches talking about having communication cut off with that. Two spy
Uh,
gates. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
hey, if the shoe fits, right?
You ain't cheating. You ain't trying.
All right. And then, of course, jumping into myself, we'll be skipping me this week because, of course, we played on Thursday last week, so we covered it in the last podcast. But yeah, we can jump into some of what we're looking forward to in week two with our teams, the matchups, what that looks like, and where we see either winning or losing with this week upcoming. I'll kick it off since, again, I got to skip the previous week. But so this week we are playing Atlanta. We'll be at home. We are heavy favorites. So this is a tough pick for me because it's, I believe, a 13-point spread that we have to cover if I pick us to win. So a two touchdown score cover. I think for me, I definitely see this being a not an easy game. I mean, I think there will be challenges, but I don't see it being a very close game long term. Once we get into like third and fourth quarter, I think we're going to start pounding away at the Falcons' defense. Especially if you look like G-Man was saying with some of the Philadelphia team. I mean, if you compare the Atlanta team to that game versus a team like the Buccaneers, I think it's going to be very tough for them to come within that spread as well. So I think for myself, I'm definitely picking the Buccaneers to not only win, but also uh, win by over two touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll even go ahead and say we'll put in maybe some second string. Just get some fresh legs out there, get some training. Um, but no, I think I'm looking forward to the game, but I also don't think it's going to be anything that we're going to necessarily learn more from the Buccaneers in this. I think it's just going to go out, get it done, and get on to week three. Finn, G-Man, anything you guys are feeling with that game? Anything that you want to rub my face in, maybe?
Jalen Hurts can throw for over 300 yards, and they can win that game big. Look, I love Devontae Smith, but Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin are a little better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this should Atlanta's defense is garbage. This shouldn't be a competitive game. The Bucks should come out. They should roll. Ronald Jones will get a chance at a redemption. Don't fumble the ball. Make a statement. Show why you're the starting running back. The defense is supposed to be elite. Show that you're elite. Atlanta traded Julio Jones. They've got a rookie tight end and a young receiver and an old Matt Ryan and a beat up offensive line. Atlanta's a bad team for a reason. The Bucks should show themselves why they're a good team.
For sure. No, I definitely agree. And yeah, it's gonna be a rough one for Atlanta for sure, especially being home at the Buccaneers. G-Man, any last thoughts there?
Uh, so we kept them away from the end zone. If you don't do that, I don't know what to say. Like Eagles, if the Eagles can do it, I think you can do it. I mean, Buccaneers,
Do we want to
elite.
put a side bet on that, whether or not Atlanta will score a touchdown?
I guarantee you, Atlanta will score a touchdown on
Oh
you
yeah.
guys. One
Oh,
touchdown.
I do agree that Atlanta will score, but it'll probably be garbage time when the Bucks are playing a more preventative defense, playing this perimeter, playing deep.
fair enough. I'll take the other side of that bet. I'll say we don't let them in the end zone. Sans referees. If referees allow the
I mean, it's at Tampa Bay, so I mean,
Brady, I think Brady has him pretty well in his pocket, so we shouldn't be too worried
yeah.
about it. All right.
Comment.
G-Man, I guess we'll pass to you next. This week, let's see here. We have San Francisco at Philadelphia, so another home game for us. So what are your thoughts right now? They have, I believe, the Eagles winning, or actually, they have San Francisco winning by 3.5 points. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Uh, I'll take a healthy Eagles at home versus a banged up 49ers on the road. Um, the defense struggled against the run game versus the Lions. You could see that in the fourth quarter, especially.
Hmm.
So I think that they're going to have a hard time with Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts. And, it's going to be one of those games where you just kind of got to watch because, you know, got to see to believe, I guess.
So
I think the Eagles.
do you feel they're gonna do you feel they're gonna win, and do you feel they're gonna cover the spread?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're going to cover the spread. I got the Eagles um, over the 49ers, about 4.5. So we'll see if I get that right this week. So, but I got it last week.
No, it
Here's the
sounds good.
hoping, right?
Yeah, I definitely can't say I disagree. I think it was strong from Philadelphia last week. San Francisco is coming in a little beat up, but I mean, you gotta remember some of the like Mostert and some of the other he got hurt very early in the game. So what we saw from them last week is probably what we're going to see from them again. But yeah, I mean, I think I may have to side with you there. I think Philadelphia does have an edge, and I think they can get it done. If they come out the same they did last week, then yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you there. Finn, what are your thoughts on that game?
A lot of people are hyping up San Francisco. They went in, scored a bunch of points, and kind of looked to be running away with the Detroit game.
Hmm.
But remember, Detroit's bad. Detroit is really, really bad. And they let Detroit come back and get within 8 points, had the ball in the 50-yard line with like 30 seconds left. They almost blew the lead. I mean, that's not good. Now, Philadelphia, on the other hand, as we just talked about, they played Atlanta. Atlanta's not good. Both teams played bad opponents. The Eagles played better. They won big. Can they carry that over? Can Jalen Hurts be the guy for more than a week? An interesting
Hmm.
stat I heard, Jalen Hurts has more 300-yard passing games than Lamar Jackson. I I was shocked to hear that. I see by your eyes you were shocked to hear that stat as well. And I'm interested to see how that plays. I'm not a Jalen Hurts believer, But I do think that the San Francisco falls to the Eagles. I do. I'm not a San Francisco believer at all.
Yeah, no, I think was it Lamar Jackson you mentioned? I think I mean, he is kind of that dual threat, so I could see how that could be the case. But that is a very interesting stat.
I
Um,
never would have thought it.
no, no. All right. Yeah, jumping into as well, we have Miami's also at home this week. Another playing Buffalo. So what do you think there? I know Buffalo had a rough week last week. We'll get into maybe someone that might have picked that game as the upset last week. But aside from that, how do you feel Miami's going to fare?
Asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said this was a loss. Asked me last week, I would have said this game's a loss. When I did my record breakdown last week, I had this game as a loss. Okay. Josh Allen did not play well. The Steelers, they dropped everybody back. They played coverage and they made Josh Allen throw the ball and play as a pocket quarterback. And
Mm-hmm.
he struggled. The defense that was supposed to be really, really strong was allowing the Pittsburgh receivers to get behind him. What does this mean? Well, I don't know. Um, I have gone back and forth on this throughout all day today as I've been thinking about this game. Miami's offense, with that RPOs and the speed that they've gotten, and Albert Wilson and Jalen Waddle should be able to attack the outside. Their offense should do fairly well against this Buffalo defense. But Josh Allen has thrown 25% of his passes or something ridiculous like that against Miami. Josh Allen is, I believe, 5-1 as a starter in the last 3 years against Miami. Everything points to Josh Allen having a monster game, Buffalo rolling Miami, but it's at home. This is a chance for Miami to beat up a good team.
Mm-hmm.
This is a chance for Brian Flores to show that he is as good of a coach as we believe he can be. We as Dolphin fans, right? It's a 3-point spread at home. And if they cover, great. But if they don't win this game and they don't keep it close, I'm going to be very disappointed. This is a team that you have built to be competitive and to compete for the AFC East, to compete for a playoff spot. This is your moment to shine, Miami. Put your big boy pants on and let's play ball. Let's. Yeah, Buffalo has no run game. Miami shouldn't have to worry about stopping the run. Stop the pass. Stop Josh Allen. Win the game.
Yep. Yeah, what their top running back right now is Singletary, right?
Yeah, Devin Singletary. The rookie that they drafted, Zach Moss, was out last week. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if he's going to play this week. I believe he's doubtful or questionable, but he's banged up. And even with Zach Moss, their running game's still weak. Their running game is Josh Allen and Josh Allen. I mean, that's he's not Lamar Jackson's fast, but he is their running game, and that's what he's been against Miami.
Yeah.
So again, Miami, this is your time. You built this defense to play man coverage. You built this team to do cover zero blitzes. Let's show it. Let's beat him up. Let's make him, I want to see 2 picks this game. I want to see you make Josh Allen throw 2 interceptions or fumble the ball, get a couple turnovers, and win this game. I do think it'll be a high scoring game, though. I would not be at all surprised to see this game like 31-28, 34-31. But it's time for Miami to show that they're a team that can beat good teams. They beat a good team in New England. Let's beat a good team at home against Buffalo.
Yeah. So you think this is essentially a defining game for the Dolphins? If they win this, does this make you more hopeful for the season moving forward, or do you think this was just kind of a benchmark for right now of, hey, look, we're here to play?
This is definitely a statement game. If Miami can come in and beat up Buffalo, and I mean when I say beat up, I mean win by 1 point. If they can walk away with a win, that should make a lot of teams go, "Uh-oh, this team's legit."
Mm-hmm.
And again, with their secondary, what they can do with Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, what they can do with Eric Rowe and superstar Nick Needham, That's a lot of secondary guys that can just man up and play man coverage, and that can shut down good receiving cores. Their pass rush is still questionable. Their linebacking core questionable, but this is still a very good defense. And this is year 3 of a rebuild. This is the year that they're going to shine. It's go big, go home, right?
Hmm.
It's time to show that they are a good team and that they are a playoff caliber team. And what better than to take down, a Super Bowl contender?
Yeah.
And keep on, I'm saying this. They're going to Miami, playing a 1 o'clock game. It is going to be hot. It is going to be humid. It is going to be muggy. Let's, this is Miami, has all the advantages. They have everything stacked up in their favor, except they just got news today. Will Fuller, was it today, yesterday, whatever. They just got news. Will Fuller, their big free agent acquisition, just came off suspension. He is ready to go week 1. Oh, he's out for personal reasons. We
Hmm.
don't know what that is, but that was a big loss. But this is a really big game. And even if they don't win it, they got to keep it close. If they get blown out, that's going to look really, really poorly for this organization and this team.
Hmm. Yeah, you got to think too. Buffalo's got to be playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder from last week. So I think that'll be interesting to see how they come out. If they come out, swinging, they want to, like you're saying, almost with Miami, where Buffalo wants to make a statement with this game as well. So this is definitely one of my games to watch this week and see how that dynamic plays out and how those two teams kind of fight with each other. Um, and I don't know if I missed it or not, but did you? What is your pick for the win, the loss, and are they going to cover the 3.5 point spread?
I think they'll cover. I do. And I'm going to say, I'm doing this with my heart a little bit. I understand that. But I have flip-flopped. I think Miami will be able to, with the home crowd, with the temperature, with the heat, with all that stuff. I think they do make a statement and drop the Bills to 0-2, and the Dolphins go 2-0.
Oh God, I'm just gonna let that one slide.
Lord. Yeah. Jeez.
Oh man. All
It's gonna
right.
be a good game for sure, though. It's gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
That's definitely on my list too.
I know.
All right. Yeah, we'll switch gears a little bit into our final kind of segment here. So if you guys aren't aware, each week we kind of pick our locks of the week, so teams that we are certain are going to win their game, and then our upset of the week, the team that is not supposed to win the game, and we go ahead and pick them anyways. So I'll just quickly recap last week. I'm gonna love this section of the podcast here. So last week, real quick, Finn, we'll start with you. So Finn's lock last week. Finn, do you remember who you picked to win?
Absolutely. Never doubt Green Bay and Aaron Rod. Oh, wait.
Yes, the Packers. The Packers were your pick last week. Did not fare so well.
No, they played horrible. They were bad.
So that's 0-1 for Mr. Finn there. And then your upset, I believe we had a little contention here last week because this was my lock, and you picked them as your upset. So of
Yes.
course, go ahead. What was that?
Uh, Indianapolis started off the game driving the ball to the 2-yard line and then settling for a field goal and not going for it on 4th and 2 to make that statement. Carson Wentz played like he did with Philadelphia. Yeah, no, I was wrong. The Seattle Seahawks came in. Russell Wilson's a beast. He's amazing. And the Colts, they didn't get their home win. No,
Mm,
they did not.
yeah, that was. I know it was one thing going into the Seattle game was like Russell Wilson last year kind of had a little bit of a slump, I think, towards the middle to end of last year through that kind of second half of the season. So for him to come out, this was almost his statement game. Like, I think he was back to true form, back to exactly what you'd expect to see from him. Um, but yeah, so as a wrap up there, your pick was the Colts. That drops you to 0-2 for the week. And then jumping into my games, I did pick Seattle as we talked about, so 1-0 for sick. And then my upset which I believe no one here thought was going to occur. I was the only one who picked it. Steelers over the Bills. So they were not only an upset, but they were basically a touchdown cover as well, and they got both. So thoughts from you guys on that Steelers Bills pick last week?
Broken clock is right twice a day. Is that something like that? No, great pick, great defense. Josh Allen kind of showed what he was his second year. Not the elite player he was last year.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I got to give it to you, man. That was a heck of a pick, and congrats. I thought the Seattle game was going to be very different, and I was obviously very wrong.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I definitely drew that one out of the hat, right? Like it was for sure a pick that not many would feel would occur, but that's what I was going for. Something that I knew was kind of out of the ballpark. Yeah, G-Man, taking to you. We'll cover some of yours as well. So last week, your lock was actually the 49ers over the Lions, which, well, I believe they actually did win, but they did not cover the spread, so you don't get a point.
No, I don't. I mean, Garoppolo killed it until the second half. It was 31-10 on the start of second half. I don't know how that remotely happened, but there we go. Take that L.
That's Finn's favorite team to rag on this year, the Lions.
Going to be bad. I love their coach. Dan Campbell's a fun coach. He used to be the special teams coach for Miami. I was the interim coach for a little while. Big fiery guy. I'm rooting for him, but they just don't have talent right now.
Can we talk about Goff for a second? 338 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Didn't he throw a golfball pick though? That pick 6. Yes, I believe so. Also, I just wanted to use the word golfball.
That was great.
I don't approve of that pun. I don't like that one.
That was me picking picks, man. I was golfball at it.
And jumping into the upset as well. This was probably another. I mean, I don't know. I'm almost on Finn. Your Lions statement there is kind of how I feel about the Panthers this year. But anyways, you did pick the Jets over the Panthers. That did not pan out as well. So we are at 0-2 for G-Man. G-Man, your parting thoughts there on that game?
Look, this is possibly the worst thing that I could do is pick the Jets. And I think a lot of New York would agree. So, basically Carolina's whole game plan was passed to McCaffrey the entire time.
I mean, can you blame them?
I cannot blame them. If I had a guy at that caliber, I'd be passing to him too.
For sure. Yeah, it is interesting a non New Yorker picking the Jets to win the game.
I was curious. I took a gamble and never pays off. So
to recap last week, we have myself top of the leaderboard, 2-0. We have up at G-Man in second. G-Man's kind of like 0.5 and 1.5, but on the scoreboard he's 0-2. Finn, you are also 0-2 for the week. Anything you want our viewers to know about how you guys are going to turn this 0-2 around coming into week 2?
Absolutely. I'll start right off. Puns. I'm going for puns. I'm going to win the scoreboard with puns.
Where's the mute? I think I have control of mute button somewhere around here. G-Man, any inspiration heading into week 2?
Look, don't pick the Jets. Learn from my mistakes. Kevin, if you're watching, you probably aren't. Don't pick the Jets.
Fair enough. I think that's some pretty good advice there. All right. Yeah, we'll jump into our week 2 picks. So hopefully you guys are ready. Hopefully you did some research this week, or you're just willing to wing it like I did on the Steelers. Let's see. I had G-Man. I think I have you going first here. So what what do you feel is the lock for this week?
I got Seattle 4.5 favorite over the Titans this week. The Titans look bad against the Cardinals, and the Titans defense, who allowed 6 sacks last week, are absolutely terrible. There's no doubt in my mind that this is an 0-2 team this week
Hmm.
for the Titans. So that's my lock of the week.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree there on some of what I saw from the Titans last week. I think Finn, we had talked a little bit about the quarterback there and Tannehill. His name was escaping me. We talked about Tannehill last week, and we had a little debate. I did not see him doing very well this year. I know he has the potential, but man, it was a rough week. I feel like last week for them. Finn, your thoughts on Seattle over Tennessee?
Well, let's go Tennessee. Their offensive line played horrible against Arizona. I mean, they gave up 5 sacks to the one player who I just cannot think of his name right now. Uh, they're going to be better than that, but their defense, their secondary is still not very good. I'm talking again Tennessee.
Hmm.
So, um, Seattle home 6.5 point favorites. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I can certainly see why that's your lock of the week. Tennessee, they'll rebound. Julio Jones, AJ Brown, Tannehill, Derrick Henry. It's a good offense, especially if their offensive line can play well, but their defense just isn't great. And
Hmm.
Seattle, they're kind of playing at a high level. If week one was any indication,
They need to drop that deep ball. If they can't handle the deep ball, Russell Wilson and Lockett, they're going to tear them apart.
absolutely.
Um, so from that, I'll jump into my pick. So we have Cleveland and Houston this week. I watched the Houston game against Jacksonville. I didn't. They played well. They won the game. I saw some good things out of Houston, but I feel Jacksonville also wasn't fully there. The defense, to me, on Jacksonville's side was very lackluster. Not a lot of energy that I was seeing. And then on the opposite side, Cleveland, I was seeing their Joe Burrow take it, and he was running with that game. He was on fire from some of the things I was seeing. So I'm looking forward to seeing that game. But I think Cleveland is my lock. I think they're going to do well, and I think Houston won't be able to keep up with them. Any thoughts from you guys on that game upcoming?
The offensive line for Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken, is beat up. Um, I'm trying to find it real quick there. I want to say, because I was looking at that game, and Cleveland, I want to say there was something with their offensive line, whether it's their left tackle, left guard, something. And then, of course, Odell Beckham misses his second week of the year. Um, whoever drafted him, poor guy, poor guys, that'd be me. Um, 13 points, and Houston looked good. Is it just a 1 week thing, or is this a team of bunch of scrappy old vets who don't want to be embarrassed every week, and they're gonna try to keep games close? Tyrod Taylor is not an elite quarterback, but he kind of does well wherever he goes.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, look, Houston's bad. They're old. They're supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league. I don't know. I certainly understand why you pick Cleveland. I do,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. I mean, I definitely don't think Tyrod is an elite quarterback, but he's definitely a veteran. I think that's what we saw last week with Jacksonville. Yes, he's not a perfect quarterback. He's not, in his prime or anything, but he had the composure and he won that game for them essentially. Um, G-Man, any thoughts from your side on that?
I think that was a fluke that Houston did against Jacksonville. I don't think they can repeat it this week. So
Hmm.
I think you're pretty safe with your lock of the week.
Perfect. Finn, your lock this week.
I try not to get too caught up in week one, and I don't want to be the overreacting to what happens 1 week to the next.
This is a lot of build up. I'm interested now.
Kyler Murray, MVP. No, Kyler Murray is a great player. That offense with DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green,
Mm,
they're fun. They're fun. And while I may not trust their coach, sorry, Cliff, I do trust the athleticism that they have. And Hopkins may be the best wide receiver in the league. Uh, at least he is over the last 5 years. So I have them going to Minnesota home game. So this is again at Arizona. They're 3.5 point favorites. I think they walk away easy by 3.5, and I think they win by a touchdown, 10 or more points. I don't even think it's that close to be quite honest with you. So I'm kind of buying into the Arizona hype a little. That's all I'm saying.
it was a good game last week. G-Man, I'll let you maybe jump into it first. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, Cardinals killed it last week. Kyler Murray was on fire. I don't think that Minnesota's going to have any answer for Arizona going into that game. So I think your clock's pretty safe there too.
Yeah, I feel all of our picks are pretty. I mean, that's what they're supposed to be, right? They're the locks of the week. So I think we all have some. And it's interesting. None of us chose the same game either. So that's
Yeah, it surprised me. It surprised me.
all right. So yeah, I have everything written down. So next week we can go over how I'm 4-0 and you guys are jumping
Wow.
into jumping into
Wow.
upsets.
I,
Um,
I see how that is.
Yeah.
hey man, when I gotta flaunt it while I have the advantage because it's not gonna last long.
Week 1 overreaction. Brought to you by Six Stomach.
All right. Upsets this week. So first we'll start off. It doesn't sound like anyone has an upset to someone's lock this week. Is that correct?
Yeah, no.
All right.
I'm gonna, if you don't mind me jumping in here.
Take it over,
I
man.
see it. I see a star on G-Man's shirt, and that just makes me go Dallas Cowboys. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan. We know it, and they are going to the Chargers. His boy Justin Herbert. The Chargers find ways to lose games. The Chargers. That's what
Hmm.
they do. It doesn't matter who their quarterback is. Philip Rivers, Justin Herbert. They find ways to lose games. Dallas looked good. Dak Prescott looked elite. Maybe not 100% healthy, but he's healthy enough. And yes, they're missing their left tackle. I just talked about how that can impact an offensive line, how their left guard impacted the line last week. But I looked and looked and looked, and I had a really hard time picking what team I think can upset it. And what better than the team that went toe to toe with the Bucks and made the Bucks elite defense look pretty bad. So I expect Dallas to come in and win that game against the Chargers, even though it's in LA.
Yeah. I agree there. I think when I was looking at that, I actually looked at that game and almost picked that one as well as my upset. I was kind of surprised they put the Chargers as high as they did. So yeah, I can't say I disagree with that upset. That's not my pick this week, but it was a close one I took a look at. G-Man, I feel like you may have something to say about Finn picking Dallas there.
So don't be shocked, but I also picked Dallas.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's why he's
So
repping that
I picked,
star.
yeah, that's why I'm repping the star because I hope they win. But with that being said, I agree with you. Dak Prescott looked amazing against the Bucks. 400 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. You know, there's not a lot to say there. I am surprised that they're the underdogs going into that game, but yeah, I mean, I think that the Cowboys are going in there and they're gonna get it done against the Chargers.
Strong
But
upset pick.
what?
I said that's a really strong upset pick.
Yeah,
That
I'm
is
surprised we all didn't pick it. When you said you almost picked it, I'm like, no way,
yeah.
no way,
That would have been
no
yeah,
way.
that would have been something. It honestly was my second pick. Like I was between the game I picked and this game, so I can't blame you guys for kind of picking this as the upset because I do agree. I think the way Dallas played, especially against Tampa, and then Chargers, who I feel are a little overrated right now. It's going to be an interesting game. Um, jumping into my pick, I have the game at Cincinnati at Chicago. So I have Cincinnati taking the win there. I think that Chicago has some weapons, has some things that I feel are going to cause them some interesting aspects to the game, but I think Cincinnati's going to overcome that point spread and upset that game. Thoughts from you guys on that pick?
Uh, I mean, don't get me wrong, but didn't they just barely beat the Vikings? And didn't that game go into overtime?
It did. What are you
I
trying to
just,
say, man?
I'm just trying to say that I don't like it. I think that the Bears are gonna beat Cincinnati. I think you're gonna take an L on that one.
You
I
gotta have faith. It's all these upsets are all about faith, man.
It's all about faith. Hail Mary.
Andy Dalton. I betting any team to win with Andy Dalton as your starting quarterback. I mean, the fact that it's in Chicago is the only reason why Chicago's a home favorite. 2.5 point favorite. It basically means because basically the home team gets 3 points against the spread. That's
Hmm.
just that's just standard rules when it comes to Vegas and the odds. So they look at this game as pretty much a 50-50 shot. We're just going to give 2.5 points to the home team. Joe Burrow kind of looked all right. The kid Jamar Chase, who couldn't catch a ball during preseason, didn't play at all during 2020 because of COVID.
Hmm.
He kind of he kind of looked good. What was it, 100 yards and a touchdown? I I understand the hype around Cincinnati.
That's what I'm saying.
Chicago's defense, I think, wins the game, but Andy Dalton, bad quarterback, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, exciting. I get it.
Yeah. He Andy Dalton definitely looked old last week. His expressions, the way he played, I think it was kind of telling last week, and I agree. I think Cincinnati's coming in with I think a little underrated for what they showed last week, for what they're capable of. I think, like you're saying, the game was close with Minnesota. I think Minnesota has some weapons too. I mean, I know they're not going to be an elite team this year, but I think that proved that they can go into a long game and win it. And I think this will be the same type of game with the fact that it's just going to be, like you said, almost a toss up. But I think that toss up is in the favor of Cincinnati. So that was, I wanted to pick a little bit closer game this week since I went so far last week and who I thought was going to upset. So I think this one's, I'm not saying they're going to blow them out, but we'll win. We got it.
I think
I,
you sh-
I,
I think you should have picked Dallas. I think you should have picked Dallas.
When
I will say too, Cincinnati is a good team. Like they're bad. They're not a great team, but let's not act like this team doesn't have talent. I mean, Cincinnati
mm,
has Joe Mixon. They have Jamar Chase. They have Joe Burrow. They have some guys on defense. I can't think of the names right now, but they've got some players. So Tyler Boyd as another receiver.
yep,
So this isn't a team that this isn't the Detroit Lions. This isn't the Houston Texans. This isn't the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're better than what they showed last year. And Chicago is a team that has a bad quarterback whose offense doesn't score a lot of points.
yeah,
I can totally see Cincinnati taking the lead and winning that game.
yeah. And I was watching, was it T Higgins on Cincinnati as well? I believe.
Yeah.
He was looking pretty good to me as well. So I think, like you're saying, it's not that they don't have the players that they need. Um, and then yeah, I mean, sounds like I'm going to take a 2 point swing here with both of you guys this week.
Confidence.
Yeah, keep dreaming. Like I said, should have picked Dallas.
All right, Dallas fan.
I'm not a Dallas fan.
Yeah, can we get a clip of that so we can like I'll put it on a sound
Well,
button.
okay, if it makes you feel any better, I got money riding on Dallas winning, and so I need them to win.
Okay. Now I see where it's coming from. Yeah, now it makes sense.
All I
Sold
heard was
out.
he was a Dallas fan.
No, definitely not.
All right. Well, I think that that wraps it up
I
for.
got a question.
All right.
I had a
Jump
quick question.
jump
So
in,
if
Z-Man.
Cowboys lose week 1 and week 2, Eagles win week 1, week 2, are the Eagles still going to be the underdogs going into Dallas in week 3?
It depends on how they show. If it's a 42 to 38 game or something crazy, I certainly can see where the Eagles, especially if the Eagles win a close one against whoever they're
San
playing.
Francisco.
San
Yeah.
Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco.
49ers.
Thanks. Especially if it's a blowout or a sloppy game, I can certainly see Dallas being the favorites. Just the reality. I don't think the Eagles are thought of very highly, and Dallas is America's team and will always be viewed pretty highly.
Hmm. Yeah, I think
Just
that to me. I think's the difference is just like the just the previous pedigree and the thoughts that people have around those teams is kind of what's driving it. And I think if, like Finn said, if they can come out and have another blowout game, prove that they mean business, they're here to stay. I don't see them not being the favorites, honestly. With Dallas losing, if Dallas comes out and wins, and I think just no question at that point.
yeah. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on the Eagles this year. I just had to propose that question to you guys.
Still can't believe you picked them to go 11-6. That blew my mind.
Hey, we'll see.
They're on
You'll be a
track.
Jalen Hurts fan. You'll be a Jalen Hurts fan soon.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for today. We have gone through our topics and agenda akin to our normal podcast. Any parting words, Finn or G-Man? G-Man, you kind of got your parting word in there. Finn, anything that you want to leave our fans with?
Sure. Miami Dolphins are the team to beat in the AFC East, and they are 1-0 and top of the leaderboard. And that's all I got to say.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't have to say about my team, so it's a given. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning in. We'll be here again next week, Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch. Thanks for joining us, and we will see everyone next week.
Bye.
Bye.